We've learned a lot during this trial and seen some things we've never really seen in a courtroom, like an attorney objecting to the judge. There seems to be no love lost between defense attorney Don West and Judge Deborah Nelson. Once again today, the fireworks went off after Attorney West asked for a special jury instruction.
I'm not giving that instruction.
We submit that's an integral part of our theory of defense, and the court commits error by not instructing the law, this jury properly on the law.
I understand. I've already ruled, and you continually disagree with this court every time I make a ruling. I have provided you on 3 separate occasions with the court's professional conduct in the courtroom, and included in that is do not continue to argue with the court after we've ruled. If I have made a mistake in this case, you will appeal.
This comes a day after testy exchange when Mr. West tried to object to the judge when she asked Mr. Zimmerman if he planned on testifying.
Have you made a decision, sir, as to whether or not you want to testify in this case?
I object to that question.
Okay, overruled. Have you made a decision as to whether or not you want to testify in the case?
I object to that question. I think that's Mr.
Overruled. The court is entitled to inquire of Mr. Zimmerman's determination as to whether or not he wants to testify.
On Mr. Zimmerman's behalf, that decision.
I am asking your client questions, please, Mr. West.
I object to the court inquiring of Mr. Zimmerman as to his decision about whether or not to testify.
Your objection is overruled.
And then something you don't see every day. The judge literally walking out on Attorney West while talking.
The court is in recess. I will give my ruling in the morning. I'll see you at 8 o'clock in the morning. Court is in recess. It is
it's 10 o'clock
9:56.
Okay.
No, court is in recess. Thank you very much. With all due respect, we'll see you at 8 in the morning.
I'm not physically able to keep up this pace much longer. It's 10 o'clock at night. We started this morning. We've had full days every day. Weekends, depositions at night.
The judge walked out. She was gone. All of this happened without the jury in the room, but with the defense closing argument tomorrow, could it have any impact on the outcome of the case? Marsha Clark, wow. What do you have to say about these exchanges?
Well, you know, things take place in a court of law. I can say that I've actually been in more fiery exchanges than those myself, and I've seen other defense attorneys who were more on the hot seat than Don West was, though not often. Look, here's the thing. Number one thing is the judge is right about the fact that once the court rules, you've already made your objection, you've made your record. That's what you have to do. Once you've done it, the court has ruled against you, move on. Unless you have a new point to assert that no one has considered, different story. But that's not what's happening here. Don West just keeps going after the same thing over and over and over again, and she keeps saying, I ruled, but I ruled. Stop repeating yourself. Now remember, she's got a sequestered jury that's waiting in the wings every time they do this kind of stuff. And they don't have time to waste, and she's very wisely protective of this jury, which is excellent. Now I know John doesn't agree with me about the whole questioning the client about whether or not he wants to testify. We've disagreed about that. I acknowledge it, but I disagree respectfully with John. She has a right, she has a duty to inquire as to whether or not this man wants to testify or waives his right, because it's a personal right for the defendant to have or not, or to honor or not. And she has to make it clear on the record that he has exercised his own independent choice.
Well,
to argue with her about that is ridiculous, because she's not asking incriminating questions. She's asking for a record on appeal. That's all she's doing.
Let me
so a lot
ask
of this argument back and forth it does nothing for him.
Let me ask someone who's never fiery and always subdued. Lisa.
How did I know that was going to be me?
What do you think about all these exchanges?
So, I mean, yeah, all this bickering. What are they, cable news pundits? I mean, it's something to really watch in the courtroom. And I'm torn because I really like a fiery advocate for his client, but I also really like a woman in a power position. So I can't possibly call this one.
Right. Right.
I can call it.
I think you'd be torn. Ken, I don't think you're as torn. Go ahead. You're there in Florida. I mean, does this affect the defense closing at all?
No.
Now listen, George Zimmerman hires a lawyer to fight for him. He doesn't want his lawyer doing a waltz with the judge or playing nice in the sandbox. So although I wasn't very happy with Mr. West with his knock-knock joke in the beginning of the trial, he scores tons more points in my book. He's doing his job. He's making a record. He doesn't really care about the fight with the judge. He wants that court reporter taking down what the defense situation is and how they're being prejudiced. So he's doing his job. He's fighting hard for his client. And you know what? He's earning his money. And I think he's doing a good job. I think he should continue to fight if he's got to fight for his client. We're talking about liberty, so you got to fight for your client.
Absolutely, I agree with this totally.
John, the state has asked Don West to be investigated for a photo his daughter posted after Rachel Gentile testified. The caption on the photo read, "We beat stupidity celebration cones, and Dad killed it." Could that be a factor in why the judge is so tough on him?
No, I don't think so. I think the judge is dealing with Don West as he presents himself in court. She's not going to hold him responsible for his daughter unless she has reason to believe that he was involved in it. But
well, he was in the photo with the daughter.
Well, yeah, but I don't think that she's holding that. I would hope that she is not. I mean, Don West is doing a very aggressive job as a lawyer. I disagree on some of the points, but because I don't like the way he treated Rachel. But at the same time, I do think he has properly stood up to the judge when he needed to be. I didn't say that the judge should not have inquired about whether or not he wanted to waive Zimmerman. It was a question of when you do it. And I don't think the judge should have done it at that time when the case had not resolved itself. Don was perfectly right to protest that type of inquiry at that time. Certainly there was going to be a time when that would be appropriate. But look, I mean, I agree that lawyers are supposed to fight for their clients. And sometimes the judge is a person who doesn't necessarily have your client's best interests at heart. And there are different agendas that are taking place.
All right, I'm going to have to hold it there a minute. I'd like you all to stay with me. I'm coming back to get final thoughts from all of you about what to expect tomorrow. That's next.